Cancer's about to take over. Heart disease is number one. And for half of the people that die from heart disease, their first symptom is death. It's a heart attack. They die of a heart attack. For half of the people who die from heart disease, the first symptom is death. So it's too late. Diabetes and obesity, or diabesity, it's a word.
Yeah.
Diseases of mental illness. We've never seen levels of this. And I think something radical changed post-World War II in our society and how we approach our relationship with the environment and our relationship with ourselves. Since that time, we took a lot of the chemicals from warfare and we shifted them into agriculture and to food. We're going to be talking more about that this afternoon. And the reason we're suffering from a lot of these diseases is not your fault. A lot of us think, well, you know, bummer, it's my fault I did this, we'll beat ourselves up. But realistically, if we break it down, there's 4 areas that I can explain to you and show you that it's not your fault. The first area is the government is not going to look after us and teaching us how to eat. Do we understand that to be true?
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Does the heart tick mean it's healthy? No, exactly. Unless you're living in a Scandinavian country and they make different rules for those areas. 2 weird things that Scandinavian countries did was ban cell phone towers within 500 metres of schools. One white. And they banned mercury amalgam fillings. So they don't really consult industry when they make legislation in Scandinavia. Whereas here we have lobbyists, we have interest groups that the government consult with, and that's their proper process. But we should be potentially making more rules on that. So government doesn't support us. Our education system doesn't teach us how to eat, doesn't teach us how to look after our bodies, doesn't teach us how to do meditation and stress reduction. I am seeing more schools start to bring this in, but they're the hippie schools where the teachers hold crystals and wear tracksuit pants. We need to make this mainstream. I believe it will happen, but we're in a transitionary period right now, and so they're not teaching us. Generally, a lot of our parents, unfortunately, didn't teach us either. They might have grown up in a healthy household, but they would just, via osmosis, adopted the ways of living and eating that, as a society, we're taught is the norm and healthy. And last but not least, my doctor friends. Hi guys. Increasingly, the pressure of the medical fraternity means that these doctors are not able to spend time with us one-on-one and teach people how to look after their bodies. And you'll know that the pressures that most doctors are under these days is astronomical. Unless you're an alternative practitioner, you commit time to understanding how people work and what their stresses are in their life. If Dr. Libby didn't ask that Irish lady about her story, she wouldn't really understand the deep reason of what was holding her back. So unfortunately, we cannot rely on that. And a lot of medical doctors are not trained in nutrition and natural therapies unless they go and take extra studies in nutritional and environmental medicine. And there's a course or a college in Australia that was founded by Professor Ian Brighthope from the Foodmatters documentary called the Australian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine, where practitioners can go and study and get extra credits in alternative practices. So it's not our fault that these issues have happened. And so no matter where you are today to where you want to be, there are steps that we can take in order to take control of our health and get there. And these 10 steps are steps that Laurentine and I have distilled from years of having access to a lot of these practitioners and trailblazing health educators from around the world. And we wanted to share them with you today. And if we could give a huge round of applause for Laurentine Ten Bosch, my wife, to come up today.
Hello everybody, I'm so excited to be here and I'm so excited that you guys have chosen today to come. A full day you've dedicated to yourself. Well done. So give yourself a hand, everybody. So I believe our bodies are super powerful and our bodies are here talking to us all the time, like whether that is through a stomach grumbling, whether that's through acne, whether that's through excess weight that we carry, or whether that's through hair loss or aches and pains. Our body is super powerful and it's trying to tell us something. It's trying to talk to us all the time. And we either keep numbing that voice or we keep putting it away. But really, the more that what we're talking about today, the more that we become in tune with that voice, the more that we become in tune with our body intelligence and up our body intuition, the healthier we can get. So we are excited to take you on these 12 steps to wellness, and we really do believe that this is like underground information that we just don't really get to hear very often. So it's about taking our notebooks out and really taking some notes, because it is exciting. This is some stuff that we have been able to distill from the best in the world, like James said, and are able to help us to get more in tune with our voice before it becomes a scream for a lot of people. It has become a scream, and that it's not too late either, because like James said, it's not our fault. We are here to do something about it.
So I forgot to tell Lauren, updated the slides, it's 10 steps, not 12.
Oh, we wanted
It's all good. We rolled a couple into one because we've been over time at every event so far, so just joking.
They're still really good.
So the first step is, let's get straight into it. The first step is educate yourself. The biggest common thread, I believe, in taking control of your health and being able to become your own internal doctor and then working with intelligent practitioners as well is becoming educated. Too often we see the medical profession as this big, impenetrable castle on the hill, and then when we're sick, we go up to that castle, we knock on the big doors, and we're like, please help us. This is what my dad did for so many years, and it resulted in him becoming quite unwell. Thankfully, education is becoming more and more available to people. Does anyone know Michael Moore, the filmmaker? Okay, great. So, does everyone remember that film Fahrenheit 9/11 that he made? And it was about George W. Bush, right? That premiered in America and smashed it at the box office while George W. Bush was still in power. I mean, I don't get it. To me, there's a new era, and it's called cinema verite, or freedom of cinema, or freedom of information. If he had made that film 50 years ago, he would have been shot by the CIA. So we are living in a new world where we have access to more and more information. It's about finding credible sources that you can go to and get that information on demand to improve your understanding about how to heal the body. Things like Dr. Libby's work, John's work, and working with a practitioner in your area, and also a lot of the films that we've got on FMTV as well. So that's one of the steps.
And also in the Foodmatters office, we always say it's about education and not medication, right? So we really help everyone to understand more about what's going on our bodies. And so often we think that, like James was saying, we give that power away when we go see a specialist. But we live in an information age. Have we ever, Googled what's going on in our bodies? Like, have we looked at further resources that we can figure this out ourselves? It's really about, switching that little switch in your head going, actually, I can figure this out. I can figure this out by myself, and it's like becoming our own mechanic. It sounds really weird, but if we're actually, how many people we've asked around the room actually know and can tell me where your liver is? What part of the body? Doctors, nutritionists probably know these things, but a lot of people don't actually know where our liver or a spleen is. Where's that? What part of the body is that? So it's like becoming our own mechanic, figuring out what's under the hood, what's going on in this system of ours that is amazing, and it works so well for us. And if it doesn't work so well, try to figure out what's going on. Why did we get sick? So it's like digging deeper, getting that excitement, that empowerment back. And so if you didn't write this down before, I'd encourage you to, because this is a common thread from today. Education shifts beliefs. Beliefs influence choices. And choices affect the quality of your life. It's a really simple equation, but I'm really attracted to it and I love it. And the ways you can do it are through films, books, audiobooks, online events. Coming to events like this is another great way to do it. But I just encourage you to go deep and make a commitment. I've made a commitment once a month to read a book this year on either health or personal development. And so far I've read 6, so I'm not reading any through till June. There was 2 really short ones, so it's sort of cheating, so maybe 4. So the next step is detox your life. Remember how I just said about World War II? Since that time, we have released over 44,000 man-made chemicals wholesale into the environment as some sort of, it's going to be fine. There's PCBs and DDT in Inuit fat samples
and they've never been exposed to it, and it's been banned for 50 years. I mean, we are inundated with toxins these days, and they're in every area of our life, from our cleaning products to environmental pollutants, and to what we put on our face every day. I'm going to get into that more in a second.
And unfortunately, this study just came out from the EWG, Environmental Working Group, and they showcase that a baby, like just new coming to this world, comes to this world with 200 man-made chemicals in the umbilical cord. So that's before it has even eaten and drunken anything, it's already coming with toxins into this world. So it can do a lot of damage.
And toxins can have so many effects on the body, hormonally, on overloading certain organs, which can inhibit the body's ability to have a strong immune system and fight off disease. So one of the next slides is...
Actually, we should mention this as well. A lot of what toxins can do as well is it can actually create a lot of behavioural issues. And personally, a friend of ours has just had her kids, literally had to take her kids out of school because they were dealing with so much behavioural issues from just literally misbehaving, like not paying attention in class, just not being able to focus, not listening to the teacher. And just also, these children were also dealing with a lot of aches and pains and stomach issues and acne and skin issues. And what she did is she decided to do an allergy test. And these kids turned out to be gluten intolerant, dairy intolerant, and very sensitive to E numbers. And most of the kids, we eat these days, I mean, even you look at the kids' lunches and tuck shops, I mean, it's full of E numbers and it's full of lots of wheat and lots of dairy. So these poor kids were literally poisoning themselves and then being kicked out of school, and were dealing with all sorts of emotional issues because of that, and being homeschooled and not feeling like they were part of the group. And she took these wonderful kids off these foods and got them back. Like literally was able to see the changes and started seeing that these kids were really actually her beautiful kids again.
And the thing is that allergies also fit into this discussion, we believe, because of how the body deals with allergies. It attacks it like a foreign organism, like a toxin as well. So if we go to this next slide, then we're going to see this big graph of all the different areas where you get toxins from. You can take a photo, but I'll also send this to you in a PDF after the show. But you see environmental toxins here on the left, so pesticides, fluoride in the water, totally safe, don't worry about it. Mercury and lead, EMF and EMR, electromagnetic frequencies, electromagnetic radiation. Remember the Scandinavians? So you can turn your Wi-Fi off at night, that's helpful. Phthalates, household chemicals, so things in cleaning products and so forth. Then we've got beauty and personal hygiene. This is a big one. You know, most of the time, before we even leave our house in the morning, we're slapping 50 or 100 different chemicals on our body through what we use in our shampoos, in our skincare. Anyone ever stood in the shower and read the back of a shampoo bottle? Everyone just gone, whoa, I'm going to ignore that. Let's maybe not ignore that. And the other one interesting here about beauty and personal hygiene is the fragrances and the phthalates. Anyway, I was in Melbourne grabbing a few Ubers to and from the events, and you get in the car and someone's got those fragrance things on. You smell them and it's like, whoa, instant headache, it's so toxic. It's crazy what they put in it.
Yeah, unfortunately, if anyone is using deodorants, body sprays, these are the synthetic, like the commercial brands, like the Lynx and these sort of ones that you can buy in Coles and Woolies. The deodorants, body sprays, but also, like James was saying, perfumes, and but also these scents. What are they called again? Those
like the
air
misters or the ambipures you can plug in. Scent, they go when you walk by them. You're like, whoa.
Basically, we're all covering ourselves in phthalates, and these are hormone disruptors. They cause pretty horrible birth defects